Good evening, everybody. I'm Mark Frohnmeyer. I am the founder and president of Arcimoto. For those of you who have traveled from afar, welcome to Eugene, where sustainable vehicle development has been rooted for decades, the birthplace of the organic food movement, and the home to our children's trust, the youngsters suing the federal government over inaction on climate change. When it comes to the planet, Eugene punches way above its weight class. And to all of you, welcome to the Arcimoto Manufacturing Plant. Thank you all for being here with us on this auspicious day. 12 years ago today, a guy by the name of Mark Murphy dropped off the parts to a three-wheel kit vehicle called the Bug-E, which started the ball rolling that would come to be Arcimoto. And 2 years ago today, we went public on the NASDAQ in order to build out this factory, complete our first product, and introduce it into the market. And tonight, on the eve of the day when children all around the world will strike to ask us all to take unwavering and bold steps to avoid the worst impacts driven by carbon emissions, we are delivering our first ultra-efficient retail fun utility vehicles into the world. So, not long after I started this venture, I asked Joe Morgan, our longest-serving team member, what my job was. And he said, your job is to communicate the vision. Your job is to tell the story. And that's what I've been doing. I've been communicating the vision of a sustainable transportation system. I've been telling the story of an everyday electric vehicle. And tonight, in honor of those kids fighting for their futures and ours, I'm going to tell our story using stories for kids, ones that have stuck with me for my whole life. Does anyone here know the story of The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein? Anyone? So the Giving Tree is the story of a tree who loves a boy. This tree gives him everything, her apples so that he can have money, her branches so that he can build a house, her trunk so that he can make a boat and travel to faraway lands, and ultimately her stump so that as a tired old man he has someplace to sit. And to me, the Giving Tree has always been a story about humanity's relationship to our planet, this pale blue dot that we stand on today. The abundance of life that we have known since the dawn of history is straining under the burden of our species that takes and consumes and wastes. We are presently experiencing the sixth major mass extinction event in the history of life on Earth, caused not by a rock from space, nor volcanic activity from below, but by us. And to me, little is more emblematic of our relationship with our world than how we transport ourselves. We go, typically alone, in large, extractive, extraordinarily inefficient, pollutive, multi-ton machines for even the simplest of daily trips, on roads that are made oversized by our oversized rides. And this is the why of Arcimoto, to help change the course of the unwritten future by right-sizing the footprint of everyday mobility. Still, for a venture focused on impact, a worthy mission is necessary but not sufficient. We are playing in one of the largest, most competitive, and most highly regulated markets in the world. And we've been told repeatedly that we cannot do this, that changing transportation is impossible, and that this small Oregon startup will never make it even to the starting line with a product. And so, when I think about this team, I'm often reminded of the story of the little engine that could. A story about a small blue engine who won the day by pulling a train full of life-saving supplies over a mountain when that train's engine broke down and the other, bigger engines declined to take on the job. When we were told our early prototypes were too big, too heavy, too expensive, and didn't do enough to meet a reasonable threshold of daily utility, the team iterated over and over and over in order to refine a basic goal into a roadworthy, market-leading product. When we were told we would never be able to marshal the capital resources necessary to put a vehicle into production, nor manage the expensive market experience. We went public. We devised a replicable, semi-automated, capital-efficient production model and a rental-first in-market experience model that we believe will be a profit center rather than a cost sink. When we were told we would be crushed by the competition that would inevitably come to play, were we actually onto something, the team developed an intellectual property portfolio, a technology roadmap, and a brand that we believe will keep us on the forefront of ultra-efficient vehicle development for years to come. For every challenge we have been given, this team has risen to meet it with a big old, I think I can a whoop ass. Their passion for the mission, intellectual depth and grit, and willingness to work together to effectively solve problems continue to overcome every obstacle in their path. And when I say we and team, I'm not talking just about the folks who punch the late night clock here at our headquarters, but ultimately all of our stakeholders as well. Our pre-order customers who cracked open the wallet to be on an idea, to be one of the early adopters, Arcimoto's investors who've powered every single step of our way, our suppliers who have made a bet on an upstart and stood by us as we work to push this product into the world, and everyone from our bankers and analysts to journalists who've helped us tell our story of a truly sustainable transportation system to the world. To all of you, you have my deepest gratitude. It is because of all of you that this night and the achievement of this incredibly important milestone are at all possible. So my final story, before I get on to the good stuff, is the canonical tale of forward-looking statements, the boy who cried wolf. Set to guarding the sheep, the boy would yell wolf, the villagers would come running, and no wolf would be found. At the end of the story, the boy cries wolf, no villagers come, and a wolf makes off with one of the flock. At times along this journey, I've felt a little bit like the boy who cried wolf. Each iteration when we went back to the drawing board, each barrier and setback when we pushed back the clock, has kept my story of Arcimoto one that is perpetually in the future. A vision of sustainability, a vision of a product, forever on the horizon. Yet the most important part of the story of the boy who cried wolf, in my opinion, is underemphasized in most tellings. The most important part of the story is that eventually there was a wolf. And so it is with a combination of incredible pride in our team and some fair measure of relief that after 12 years, my story of Arcimoto gets to change tense. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to present to you the very first retail edition fun utility vehicles from Arcimoto built inside these walls. You guys might want to clear a little path there. They're gonna do a little loop around the parking lot and come through. So the basic features of the Evergreen FUV are unchanged in the retail production version. Comfortable seating for two large adults in a vehicle that takes up not much more space than a touring motorcycle. Rockstar 3-to-a-space parking in dense urban environments. The ability to travel on all the roads. Removable half doors and locking rear storage. So there are some changes. The ride experience has continued to improve, and thus the fun factor, that little spoonful of sugar that helps the clean tech medicine go down in a most delightful way, is ever more present in the production version. We have final numbers from testing as well. Our target for the Evergreen was 100 miles of city driving range. I am happy to announce that we eclipsed that target. We tested out at 102 miles of urban range with the half doors on. This corresponds to a urban fuel economy of 173.7 miles per gallon equivalent, or about eight times the fuel economy of today's cars. We believe the FUV may be the most efficient production electric vehicle in the market, suitable for the wide range of typical daily trips. So of the first retail edition FUVs you see tonight, 3 will go to some of our very earliest customers here in Eugene. This one's going into my driveway. And the other 2 are company vehicles used for marketing and testing. So given my, I realize the tensing is all future to present, but old habits die hard. So given my propensity for forward-looking statements, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about the future. So we're now in production, building 1 vehicle per day. We plan to step up production over the course of the year, targeting 2 per day by the end of next month, and 5 per day as we turn into 2020. Over the course of the next 12 to 18 months, we plan to scale up production to 200 vehicles a week out of this factory, at the same time that we begin site selection for production targeting other markets around the globe. We will also continue to expand our vehicle portfolio. The Arcimoto platform is an incredibly efficient, incredibly flexible foundation for future mobility products. Our next 2 products on the platform, and you can see the prototypes right here, the Deliverator for last mile fleet delivery, the Rapid Responder, which is really focused around emergency response, law enforcement, campus security. Both of those are slated for production next year. And finally, we aim to demonstrate our first autonomous Arcimoto as we begin to make the case as a low-cost, light footprint platform for everyday self-driven shared mobility. The future we envision is light footprint, zero emission, and zero collision, where parking lots become parks, and you just hit a button on your phone and a small footprint ride pulls up and takes you where you want to go. So, thank you again for being here tonight to help us celebrate this milestone. To the team, enjoy this moment. Your hard work has earned it. Your dedication has earned it. We made it to the beginning, and we're just getting started. And if I could, have everyone on the team step forward. Can the Arcimoto team, the folks who do call this place home for most of their waking hours, this crazy dream that got into my head 12 years ago simply would not be possible without the incredible hard work of this team of people, day in, day out, crushing setbacks, just plowing through every single milestone in front of them to get to this point. So please join me in a big round of applause for the Arcimoto team. You guys rock, one and all. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the illustrious Carl Solovox to ply us with some entertaining earfuls for the rest of the night. Enjoy.